think this is episode 41. Welcome to episode 41 of Fresh Floppies.
Yes, I got shook up, but that's all could have took it to me none until I go.
What's up to all our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the mother-loving Geek Nation? You're currently tuning in to Fresh Floppies.
Fresh Floppies.
What is Fresh Floppies? I'm so glad you asked, listener. It's a book. No, it's not a book.
Wait,
it's a show.
In your mind.
In my mind's eye.
In your mind's eye, do they actively, like the person that's listening?
Yeah.
The person. We have one listener. The person that's listening, do they like outside
Make a really dark joke
outside
about my mom's ashes.
It's too late. You made it.
Hi, Mom.
I put a speaker up.
Yeah, I just put a speaker by her ashes.
But I make sure you do it on a different device so it counts as a download.
Yeah.
Not yours.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Go ahead. What's the question?
Does the listener, obviously not your mom, but does the listener say out loud, "What's that?"
Yeah.
Or do they do it in their head?
No, it's out loud. They're driving in their car.
like
Maybe they're on the subway.
Headphones.
Yeah.
Like,
what's that?
I'm gonna try this new show. What's that? It's just like really loud. Anyway, what's up? Wait, what's Fresh Floppies?
Fresh Floppies is a show where we talk about the comics that are coming out today. Oh, today's Tuesday.
Well, they're coming out this week.
This week, how about that? So we're going to be talking about Batman and the Red Hood and Sinister Sons and Displaced.
It's going to be a lot of comics
I'm Already
this week.
Dead. And some other ones.
A lot of bangers this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're talking about the periodicals on the shelf, not your collected editions, not your graphic novels, not your omnibuses, compendiums, absolutes, but
Hardcovers.
the
floppy
single
boys.
issue floppy boys that are still coming out on a weekly basis, no matter what anybody tells you.
So we're going to start off with Batman number 143 by Chip Zdarsky and Carmen Coley and Sorrentino. And this is the second part of the Joker Year 1 weekly event that is going on in the main Batman title. We talked about Year 1 Part 1 last week. And I think I enjoyed it more than the other gentleman. Tim from last week joined us, and Noel, I think, was just like, it's fine, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was the book is split in two, and I liked one part of the story more than the other, and I felt like the transitions between each, like, I guess time period was sloppy. Like, jumping back and forth and liking one story more than the other kind of made it an imbalanced experience. But I think I was mostly positive in so much as, I'll read again. I'll keep reading. Yeah. But if you said no, then I'd be like, okay, won't miss it.
So, okay, you read this one.
Yeah.
Report back.
My initial feelings were exonerated. Not exonerated. Supported.
Oh, okay.
Not supported.
Wow.
Reach around. No, I don't. I same. I love the. I'm really, really enjoying the Giuseppe Camuncoli.
Year 1
in the past, like year 1.5.
Yeah.
Right? Or no, near year 0.5. This is after year 0 year and before year 1.
Yes.
For Batman.
Yes.
For Batman. I'm enjoying that bit.
Yes.
Because it's awesome.
Yes.
It's Batman being kind of green. It's almost more a Gordon story, which is really cool, and a little bit of Red Hood stuff. Like in 0 year.
Red Hood, the villain, the gang.
The gang, yeah.
Not Jason Todd.
It's after. Yes, I'm sorry. Where Jason Todd gets his moniker. It's after the disbandment or the destruction of the Red Hood gang. Like those pieces putting together and people in the force. Like that's all really interesting, and I really, really like it. And then also the stuff in the past that we learn about the Joker, I thought was kind of cool. Like there's a retcon, I guess. I mean, you can't really retcon something that's never been solidified, but I like the story swings in that era that Zdarsky's making.
Mm-hmm.
I do not like and do not care about the future story.
Yeah.
For a various number of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the worst is that I'm finding it boring.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what the actual mystery is that's setting up, other than like, all of Gotham's been turned into Jokers. But there is a scene in there that I do like regarding his Bat family. I agree with you about the Giuseppe Camuncoli bits of the story. I like what Chip Zdarsky is doing
The
there.
Kamikoli of it all.
Exactly.
Hey.
And then, putting it next to Andrea Sorrentino and what's happening in the future, it just that the future bits pale in comparison.
Yeah,
and I'm
it's
not
like-
sure they're even needed.
It's like it's every time the book kind of gets on a clip, and like there's a couple of really, dare I say, creative reveals in this book, and then that momentum is
Skirt!
It's like a brick through a glass pane window kills the momentum, kills the speed of this book and like the interest of this book, and turns it into kind of like a muddy slog.
Yeah.
You can love Andrea Sorrentino's art. I know a lot of people do with all his Jeff Lemire work. I've never really enjoyed it, and I do think it's stilted.
Yes.
And
that's what happens when you trace a lot. Is you lose sort of the momentum.
But even somebody like Malif, who has a lot of photo references, he takes a lot of the pictures himself, so I think it's a completely different kind of process. It's not like he's just Google image searching
Claudia
actors.
Schiffer.
Yeah. But he at least, I think he understands dynamism and movement between panels. Andrea Sorrentino's work is just like still images next to each other.
Yeah.
And that doesn't support progress.
Yeah.
Kinetic energy through the page. It's vibes, man. I say that way too much, but I think it's one of my biggest, I guess, recent complaints about comics. A lot of times it's style over substance or function, and I think this is style over function.
Yeah.
Like your function, the first function is tell me a story, and this is just stylish.
And then on top of that, I am 80% sure that he's also using AI.
I don't know enough about, as an artist, I don't know enough, but this is way different looking and much more detailed, and
there are images in here that look painterly, like he painted it. And upon first glance, I went, "Oh, look at Andrea Sorrentino coming out with a different style." And then I paid a little bit more attention to it, and I was like, "Oh, this is probably AI that he just."
Even so there's a scene of the Joker all emaciated and creepy rising from water.
Yep.
Even the texture of the water is not like anything I've seen Andrea Sorrentino do before.
No.
And also too, I'm not super well versed on all the things he does, so I grabbed the most recent issue of Tenement off the shelf, the book he's writing with Jeff Lemire. That's, dare I say, classic Andrea Sorrentino, where it's just like still images traced, image references. I don't want to keep saying traced because that sounds like there's no effort put. Image referenced, highly stylized, kind of static images. There's nothing like this. Yeah.
It's very Tim Bradstreet, if you remember that artist from like the late 90s, early aughts. There's a scene where Batman he's picking up a ring. He's doing a crime investigation, and this ring dissolves in his hand, and Andrea Sorrentino has traced a glove. And I look at that glove and I go, that is the most useless glove.
It looks
It's
like,
one of those fat winter gloves
looks
where
like
you're
a
just
gardening glove.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's a what's his name? Freddy Krueger's glove that's underneath the knives. I'm like, there's no way Batman is doing any work in that glove.
Yeah, the fingers are so wide that what if he has to like intricately separate wires?
That's right.
You can't do it. What if he has to
a bomb?
What if he has
dead.
to like move a lock pick
Exactly.
with his with an index finger and thumb? Not gonna happen.
Very fat glove that he's chosen for photo reference. But the rest of the book, I actually am interested in. How do you feel about the fact that this is a tie-in book to the
Batman the Knight?
Killing Joke?
Yeah.
Batman the Knight from Chip Zdarsky from a couple years ago. The Three Jokers, and I feel like there's one more. Oh, and then Year Zero.
I think it largely ignores Three Jokers. Hold on. Only in name. It largely ignores the story of Three Jokers, that they're actually... It largely... I don't want to spoil it. It largely ignores the actual story that is in Three Jokers.
Yeah.
If somebody had just heard that phrase before, that's enough, but it doesn't deal with any of the stuff that happens in that story as an origin. like at all.
Do you like that it's tying all those things together?
It's not deterring me. It's not bothering me because again, all of it is only mattering in the Kamancholi stuff, and it's fitting so far.
Okay.
Like it's slotting into place in a fun way.
Yeah.
So I don't care.
Okay.
And I also don't think when it comes to larger than life characters like this that have tons and tons of history, how do you not? You know, how do you not reconcile 3 or 4 plot threads at the same time? As long as you do it well, I don't care. Like
Yeah.
I don't feel like any of those things were required reading.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah, no.
Because I feel like I'm enjoying this because I have read all of those books, and I wonder if someone came in off the street and they're like, "Oh, here they're doing a Joker year 1." I'm not sure how they'd react to this story.
I feel like the only thing that mildly throws me off is Batman's outfit.
Oh.
If I didn't read Year Zero, I wouldn't know that like he had like a purple glove era, and I'd be like, why is his costume stupid?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's
Why
stupid.
are
I
his
actually kind of
ears slightly bent?
yeah. That is honestly that is the only cue of mine because everything else it's just like oh this is earlier in this career, this is earlier here. Like everything else is very approachable. The only thing that's kind of like a visual standoff is that's a different version of any early Batman suit I've ever seen unless I read that one story.
Yeah.
That's literally that's it. I think it's pretty approachable other than that.
Right on. Cool. Oh, how floppy. Fresh.
I think it's fresh
Every time.
So I'm still how floppy. I think it's pretty floppy. The cover is not cardstock.
Thank you.
I'm still on fresh enough.
That's where I'm at. Fresh enough.
But Zdarsky's run is getting just as much. That's not true. I was gonna say it's getting just as much shit as Zeb Wells'
No, it's
Spider-Man, but it's not. But it is getting a lot of pushback. And I've read some of the pushback. I've jumped in and out of the run. I think what some people are complaining about is valid, but I also think that some of the things that people are complaining about is hyperbolic and really silly. He's doing a long story, so you can't really judge one chapter or pull one scene out and be like, what kind of garbage is this? Like, he's about...
What else are you supposed to do on Twitter? That's all they do.
He's about 24 issues into like a long form run.
Yeah.
So let him
cook.
Yeah, either let the books pile up and read them in a chunk, or step back and maybe Batman, you'd take a break. But,
That's what I've done.
But there's nothing wrong with this book. This is not a bad book. It's just he's doing some different stuff, and if it's not vibing with you, don't be a jerk.
Yeah, I came back on this because of the Joker Year 1 bit, but otherwise I've been kind of skipping it.
I didn't want to stay on after Failsafe, but when I think about the Failsafe arc, I'm like, that's kind of cool. Like in hindsight, thinking about it, it's like,
all right,
it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So like that's what makes me want to just wait for a lot of it to be collected first. Yeah. What are we talking about next? There's so many books.
All right. So since we're in the Batman realm,
Batman?
I read Red Hood, The Hill, #1 by Martin Bro. Was it? Something Martin Bro.
Dave, John, Hector. Timothy.
Sean Martin Bro
So
and
close.
Sanford Green. Okay. Here's a warning for y'all. If you like the Red Hood, Jason Todd, not the gang, from
or
Year 1.
not Joker pre-Joker.
Yeah. Red Hood, Jason Todd. You should 100% pick up Red Hood, The Hill #0, which came out last week. And that was a bunch of backups, I think, that introduced this neighborhood, this suburb of Gotham City, the people who live there, the businesses that are there, and what was going on, I guess, just post-Joker War. But I did not do that. So I took one for the team. If you want to read this, read 0 first. That being said, this #1 kind of impressed me because it seems to be a cast of characters that actually feel like they live in this bit of the city.
You shut your face.
All his entire supporting cast, I think, except for like maybe one person, are people of color. There's a lot of Spanglish being tossed around, and it feels like I've only read one issue of. I've never heard of The Hill. Have you heard of The Hill before, as a suburb of Gotham?
No.
I've heard of like the Narrows.
The Narrows, Crime Alley, Bloodhaven next door, but I've never heard of The Hill.
Yeah, me neither. But this feels like it's a really lived-in place that you could go to. The side characters are actually really kind of realistic feeling. So I give it props for that. It's my fault. No, it's not my fault. No, it's not. If you see Red Hood, The Hill #1, you should be able to pick up Red Hood, The Hill #1 and think that you're getting a first issue. There's nothing in this that says you need to read The Hill #0 first. So I think that is a misstep. I feel like issue 0 did a lot of heavy lifting, and I kind of jumped in on issue 2 here without knowing the cast of characters, the stakes, etc., etc.
I remember when they announced this book, there was a small contingent online that was like, yes, they're finally continuing this. And I felt stupid. I'm like,
who?
What are you continuing? What's it? Like, at first I thought like, oh my God, is this like a abandoned 90s concept? Is this like a, but no, I had no clue what was going on. But to be fair, I am notoriously allergic to anthology series.
Yeah.
So if this was happening in like a Batman Underground, what was it called? Case Files. But
was that Underground or
no?
Batman
Confidential,
Unlimited or
unnamed.
Yeah.
Confidential.
Urban Legends. Urban Legends.
Was it Urban Legends?
That's what it was. Batman Urban Legends. I bet that comes from this.
Yeah, then I didn't read it, and I never will. Yeah.
But this is cool.
Yeah?
Yeah, this is cool. I like all these side characters already. Like I said, it feels like it's a lived-in place. I'm actually going to go back and but I'm going to go back and revisit Red Hood, The Hill #0, which is basically issue 1, because I am kind of curious about this. Red Hood is not a character that I love. Jason Todd, I think he was better dead. Although Under the Red Hood was one of my favorite stories. So, and I like his new design.
I don't think they've known what to do with him since New 52.
100%.
Like him coming back as a foil, not unlike Bucky, was awesome. It was a really good story, really well told. It was even cooler because it explored things about Batman that weren't able to be explored before. Awesome. Since New 52, he's just become Edgelord Nightwing, and he's boring to read. He's just so boring to read.
But here, he's sort of, it seems to have given that up, and he seems to care about people again.
Great.
So, yeah. He's
Have they settled on a costume?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But for now,
he has like 80 costumes.
Yeah. It feels a little bit like Hawkeye, where he lived in an apartment complex, and then there were all of those people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, cool. I would say, I would also say fresh enough. You don't have
fresh
to jump
enough
on this.
With 0 or without 0?
Fresh enough with 0.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't read #1 without 0. That's what I'm going to say. What do you got?
Oh, I want to talk about Action Comics. Superman Action Comics number 1062. Sorry, 1062. I don't want to mess up. I don't want to anger any mathletes out there. So this is written by Jason Aaron with art by John Timms.
John Timms.
This is the second issue in Jason Aaron's first Superman story. We didn't get a chance to talk about the last one. This is a weird book. I struggle with talking about this because I think I like it, but then there's times when I hate it. The first issue I loved because it was big and weird, and there were legitimate characters talking in like rhyming Stanley style dialogue, magic dialogue, and I was like, this is so stupid. I love it. But then it kept escalating to the point where it's here. In the book, Bizarro, because of all of the constant reboots and expansions and contractions of the multiverse, Bizarro did have a homeland. He did have a Lois Lane and a Daily Planet and was living in peace, and they sent him off and he was happy. Because of all that, something has happened and his world is no longer there, so he is tearing through everywhere searching for enough magic to bring his world back, which is
Hal Jordan.
Sweet. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, not unlike that. Coast City, except the whole universe.
Yeah.
The way he does it is by basically infecting magically infecting Earth with a Bizarro virus.
Can we
so
stop?
everyone's
and pause
turning
real
Bizarro.
just for a second, because what I love about that is the idea that he is the Bizarro. He is the opposite of Superman, and therefore, something that never occurred to me, Superman's one of his main weaknesses is that he's susceptible to magic. So Bizarro is super dope at magic.
Yeah,
which I thought was real cool.
Yeah, like something not on my 2024 bingo card was watching an overpowered Bizarro cast spells.
Yeah, just like Doctor Stranging all over the place.
And thwarting Superman. Yeah. And as stupid as it sounds, I mean, logically, it makes sense if that is something that, Superman can't do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this book, I thought that it was, and this is only a 3-issue arc.
Oh. No
so
kidding.
I thought that we were going to, kind of move. I assumed we were going to move fast, but I wasn't prepared for how much this issue escalates things. To the point now where I'm like, they bring in everything. Your boy John Constantine shows up for a hot second.
That is my boy. I love that guy.
Like, they're a race against the clock, and Superman is. Everyone is trying to. Who hates? Raise your hand in your car if you hate Bizarro speak.
Me.
Yep, hate it. It is in this book, but it's few and far between. The way that Aaron kind of treats the Bizarro virus and Bizarros themselves, large concepts are opposite. So like love, hate, save, kill. Or save, not save, laughing is crying. Yeah. Like, that big stuff is opposite. Dying, yeah. But not every single piece of dialogue is opposite speak, because if it wasn't, it would be horrific. Yeah. So the citizens of Metropolis who are infected by the Bizarro virus are constantly trying to kill themselves. Mm-hmm. They're trying to hurt themselves. They're trying to hurt things. And Superman, who is fighting off the same virus, but he's able to kind of, keep pushing it off, is sleepless for days, constantly saving people from hurting themselves. Yeah. In between having visions of hurting people because the virus keeps kind of taking hold.
Want to.
Yeah. It is a cool concept. Cool. It's a roller coaster. So there are scenes where I would read a scene and I would finish it and be like, "Oh man, this is dark. I don't like this. This feels weird." And then the next scene would win me back. Yeah. So I think this is totally worth reading, but I can totally see people being like, this is trash and stupid, and I hate Jason Aaron. This is fun and big and dumb. This I do think is, as I'm talking about it, I think it's on par with Off-World, which is just a big Batman swashbuckly dumb thing. Yeah. And I'm here for it. This is fun. Yeah, this is not scalped Jason Aaron. Ooh. or dark Jason Aaron or crime Jason Aaron. This is Avengers Jason Aaron.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Which is War of Vampires and Moon Knight throwing the moon at people. Yeah. Jason Aaron. So as long as you know what you're signing up for, I think you'll have a really good time.
Word.
I think this is fresh. Just straight fresh.
Straight up fresh.
Yeah, even with my misgivings, I'm like, this is totally worth reading. Yeah.
Nice. What's next on the docket? I'll tell you what it is. It's another book that you read that I didn't, which is called Sinister Sons.
Yeah, man.
The son of General Zod, the son of Sinestro. They are ... Sinister Sons.
Is it the son of Sinestro?
What?
We don't know.
Oh, jeez.
We just presume.
I do love his giant rings.
His name is Sinson. Sinson? Sinson?
Oh, come on. Sinson?
So, I'm at a disservice. This apparently started, not unlike
The Hill,
as backups in the Green Lantern book. And, yeah, all of the Sin Sun stuff, that's a stupid sentence.
The Sin Sun stuff?
All the Sin Sun stuff started as backups in the Green Lantern book, and they don't recap it here. So we start with this kid who is putting together a plan to get off this crime planet with a bunch of other kids that he deputizes as members of the Sinson army.
Yeah, he was an orphan, right?
I guess so.
He's part of an orphanage.
Is that what it is? It's an orphanage?
It's like an orphanage for crime, like kids who are pickpockets and all that other sort of stuff.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Cool. Great. We've got some Oliver Twist in there.
Baby
That's
crime
awesome.
family. Yeah. Run by a big dipshit.
So that's happening. And at the same time, Lorzod? I forget his name. General Zod's kid has been banished from New Krypton.
I believe his name is Zodson.
Zodson?
I'm kidding.
Lil Zod is banished.
Lord Zod. Yeah, Lord Zod and Sinson. God.
So he is on a crash course with this planet that Sinson's on, and Sinson's like, holy shit, that's a ship. I need it. So that's this whole, like, gonna try and steal this kid's ship because he just needs a ship to get out.
Sure.
There's your setup. It's,
Well, by the way, Peter J. Tomasi.
Yeah, Peter J. Tomasi, drawn by David LaFuente. Peter J. Tomasi, who is the creator of Super Sons.
Which is delightful.
Great book. Absolutely great book. So this is the reverse of that, General Zod, and yeah.
I cheered when they said they were doing this. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Everything in this book is delightful. But without having read the backups, I was at a little bit of a disservice starting, and this whole first issue is just more setup because it ends with them finally meeting face to face, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like that form over function. It's not a very good cliffhanger to your first issue, so it makes me feel like, oh, this would have been better as a larger YA full graphic novel.
Oh, I see.
Not in issues.
Uh-huh.
Because I don't think that the story is serviced by this format.
Okay.
Especially if it started in 4 or 5 page backups, moved to 20 pages, and still doesn't feel like we're past the first chapter.
Yeah.
So this is adorable. David LaFuente's art is colorful and wild and easy to follow and really fun.
Blocky.
But
And
I don't think this is, by definition, like on the strictest, most semantical definition, I don't think this is a good first issue.
Just like The Hill.
I think this is the beginning of a cool story that I wish was in a different format.
I felt the same about The Hill. And this one, Sinister Sons, we don't even get the 0 issue that I was complaining about.
No.
So it's even less than. Mm-hmm. But that being said, this book looks really, like, I love the David LaFuente art. It looks like a lot of fun. So I'm going to check this out, even though you absolutely hate it and want it to be burned.
I think there's value in this, and honestly too, I think that Peter J. Tomasi is a writer to follow. If he has a story planned out for these 2 kids, do it.
That's where I'm at.
Everyone should support it. It's
Tomasi's
great. But I think that this is a lacking issue number 1.
Fair enough.
For hopefully a much more fulfilling kind of experience later down the road.
Right on, brother.
Yeah. Let's talk about stuff that's not DC.
DC, yeah. It's a very DC heavy show. Boom Studios.
Biggity boom.
One of our other favorite publishers.
I mean, at this point, it's just publishers we don't like. Everyone else is great.
What?
One of our other favorite publishers. We've got so many favorite publishers. It might as well just just call out the ones you don't care for.
The Displaced, Chapter 1, No Time for Goodbye, written by Ed Brisson, illustrated by Luca Casalaguida.
Hey.
This
I'm Italian.
was
It's okay.
great.
Right?
I loved this.
Right?
This was fantastic. The art by Luca, very sort of, what was his name? He did, Funky Buckets. He did that. It's not Walking Tall, but it was basically Walking Tall. You know, old, grumpled police captain, sheriff, takes on the football team in a small town.
Are you talking
with
about...
a stick, with a giant bat, and then his son shows up.
I didn't read Southern Bastards.
Southern Bastards.
Latour?
That guy's name is Jason Latour. Very Jason Latour. We've got a long road to get there. I'm so sorry. This is very Jason Latour for me. Yeah. The artwork. This is great. It sets up an awesome mystery. It feels like one of those shows that I've never watched
that has no ending.
It's like The 100.
The 100. The bubble one. The dome.
Yeah.
The 100. The dome. Yeah, so this is this book, it's cosmic horror.
Yes.
Something happens to an entire town, an entire city in Canada, and this story follows the people that are on the outskirts of the city when that happens.
Yeah.
What happens next is like really fascinating and very creative that I've never seen kind of explored.
Yeah.
I loved this issue. I think everyone should pick it up. But I am leery because historically, stories that are kind of this big and this kind of like eerie have terrible fucking conclusions.
Oh, okay.
Or they never conclude.
Right.
It's just like, the journey was the important part kind of
yeah.
shit. Not there's a reason why this happened.
Displaced were the friends you met along the way.
Basically.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if this is an ongoing. I don't know if this is a miniseries. I am so incredibly JD just ran to go look. I'm so incredibly intrigued, but as a person that's been reading for a gajillion years, I think I'm understandably leery. Like, I hope this is going somewhere. It's a 5-issue miniseries. Got
There
it.
you go. Perfect.
I hope. Well, I mean,
all I want.
I felt similarly with Alienated.
God damn it.
Yeah, the first 2 or 3 issues, it's like this is such a cool concept. I hope it doesn't go on too long. Mm-hmm. I hope it's a satisfying kind of wrap up. And I hope they explain enough, but don't explain everything. Like, there's a really subtle balance that a story like this needs to hit.
Walk. Tightrope.
Balance on.
Yeah.
A balance that they have to balance on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of factors. And I hope. This is cool.
Yeah.
This is such a cool first issue. I hope.
I wasn't going to read it, but then I think you had mentioned, like, you might want to give that one a try. And
Yeah.
It's the first thing I read, actually. No, I lied. The first thing I read is our last book coming up. But then I went straight to this, and I was like, oh, man, that was great.
Yeah, it is a solid-ass book. I think I hope not too many people are sleeping on it.
Yeah.
I think, actually, I hadn't heard about it until, like, a couple days
It was
ago.
on my shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Same. You know what? Fresh AF.
I think it's fresh as fuck. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It is a very strong first issue.
This is my first Fresh AF of the podcast, of the episode. My other Fresh AF.
Yeah, spoilers. This is fresh as fuck. I love this book.
Yeah. Is if you find this, I'm Already Dead from Dark Horse Comics, Flux House, which I guess is Matt Kint's publishing initiative.
He's got an imprint now.
So yeah, script by Matt Kint and art by Dan McDade, who we know from.
Well, Firefly, and that.
It was an oversized.
The TKO book.
Yeah, the TKO book.
It's an unruly title. It's like the fearsome lives
Dr.
of fates.
Fear or something.
Fearsome fate of Dr. Fart. It's something like that.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'll look it up. You vamp.
So yeah, if you find this, I'm Already Dead. Number 1. I don't know if this is a miniseries, but this is straight off the bat bonkers. I really like this. We're introduced to a bunch of
Fearsome Dr. Fang.
Thank you. You're in a helicopter. You're going into a war zone with a grizzled group of professionals who know exactly what they're doing, and then we find out they are joined by this woman who worked for the.
She's an embedded war reporter, so she is on the ground reporting for the Washington Times and New York Post. She has a history. She's collectively been on more tours and in more war zones than all of these guys put together.
Yeah, soldiers, experts. And then of course, they land in the war zone and things go.
It's not awesome. It's just not awesome.
But do we want to talk about?
So
how do we?
Literally the very first page explains the regular world, that on the other side or in between the moon and Earth, an anomaly has been kind of found, and this anomaly is basically a gateway.
Yeah, a quantum realm.
We have been sending, quantum realm. We have been sending recon missions into the quantum realm. Some go well, some don't, and they're doing it for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that they have allowed a war correspondent or civilian to come along with, because they feel it's not safe, but it's safe enough to actually start documenting, right?
Yeah.
And shit goes really terrible.
Yeah.
So it's this kind of grounded science fiction vibe that Dan McDade just fucking crushes.
Yeah.
Like
killing it, dude.
I think the coloring does just as much work as his pencils, because it doesn't feel shiny like other sci-fi kind of does. It feels very grimy, very dirty.
Yeah.
But also not muddy, not hard to follow. Like, I think it should be noted too, this is an oversized book.
Yeah, I like this format. Reading this
is
way.
kind of like a European oversized format.
Issue.
It's
still issue size, issue length, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe slightly bigger.
Actually, probably a little bit bigger. It's like maybe 30 pages.
Yeah.
34 to 36.
Yeah.
But McDade takes advantage of the space. There's a couple of layouts, especially in the back in the back half of the book, where he really does play with like that.
Yeah.
He really does play with like the larger format in a fun way. Like this and Displaced.
Yeah.
These were so good.
My two favorite books of this week were
This is also-
books I didn't hear about until I read them.
This is probably the first. This is probably my favorite Matt Kint so far.
Oh, it's absolutely my favorite. I
Yeah.
have tried time and again, and I've never gotten through an issue. I don't think I've ever gotten through a whole issue.
I hated Berserker.
Oh, is that him too?
Yeah.
With Keanu?
I read all 12 issues and
Mind
tie-ins.
management. Apparently that was great, but I just never.
I never really cared for his art style, not unlike Jeff Lemire, so it kind of pulls me off.
Yeah.
But yeah, when
This is great.
he's penciling for other people, or when he's writing for other pencilers, I'm in.
Yeah, this is great. Highly recommend. Fresh AF. If
Yeah.
you find this, I'm already dead.
If you find this, I'm already dead. Ask your local comic shop to order a copy for you because this book is cool as hell.
Yeah. And I'm not entirely sure how many shops are carrying it, to be honest.
Honestly, what's the price point?
$7.99.
$7.99.
Yeah.
Oversized format, higher cost.
Yeah.
Unknown property, probably not. Ask your local comic shop to get you one because it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. Is that it? Did we do it?
I think that's all the books. Is there anything you're excited to read this week?
I am stoked to get to the new episode of Transformers number 5.
Still great.
And I want to read Creep Show because I love Joe Hill. He did a one-shot this week called Joe Hill's Wolverton Station. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited about that.
I'm excited to continue my journey through Gang War. Amazing Spider-Man Gang War. And there's a new Image book that I think sounds cool. Infernals, written by Ryan Parrott.
Cool.
But yeah, man, nothing but good stuff.
Awesome. Join us tonight where we're going to be talking about
Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It's
the first 2 episodes.
Our Valentine's Day episode where we talk about couple shit.
Yeah. So yeah, join us on YouTube. Just look for CultPop Go or CultPop Podcast.
Yep.
And we'll see you there. Thanks, guys, for hanging out, and we'll chat with you later.
Do. Bye.
It's gonna blow my mind just like the first time when you told me about the neon sign. And then your New York kiss. I knew your New York kiss. Now it's another.
Thank you for listening to the Cult Pop Network, home to podcasts, live shows, and a whole lot of fun stuff for every flavor of fan. Follow us wherever you find your favorite podcasts, and be sure to join us live every Wednesday night at youtube.com/CultPopGo at 8 p.m. Eastern. While you're there, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you'll know when we drop new Thunder Rounds and episodes of Fresh Floppies, a spoiler-free show about single-issue comics released each week. Until then, we'll talk at you later.